So welcome to PBS Pulse, Porto Business School podcast that brings you insights from experts about the trends that are shaping the future of business. Today with us we have Professor Manuel Alonso.
It's a pleasure to be here.
In strategic marketing, and we're going to talk about generational intelligence, a key leadership skill for the future. Welcome, Manuel, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation. So first of all, perhaps I should ask you, what is generational leadership and generational intelligence?
I like to call it generational intelligence, and it's a soft skill that allows leaders to coordinate teams coming from different generations, because currently we are having nearly 5 generations at the workplace at the same time. So we still have some seniors around. For sure they should be retired already, but sometimes, especially in SMEs, they are the owners, so they don't retire, and we have people in their 70s around, and besides they are the CEOs or kind of. Secondly, we have the baby boomers. It's plenty of baby boomers, and they are planning to resist and not getting retired as early as we thought, especially in certain fields like education. For instance, we're professor, I don't know here in Portugal, but in Spain we got to retire at 70. Yeah, so same here? 70?
Close to that, 67 for now.
70, and you can even ask for 5 years longer. So plenty of baby boomers around. My generation comes next. We, members of Generation X, it's difficult to deal with us. Huh? So, and besides, we tend to be the leaders current moment, okay? Because we are the ones transitioning from the offline world to the digital one, so we tend to be the leaders, and it's normally our role to coordinate these teams. That's how I ended up lecturing about this topic, about generational intelligence. We have the Generation Y, completely frustrated because they are not making the money that was promised to them. Promotion is being terribly difficult for them. 2 crises in a row, very difficult to motivate. Afterwards, we are having the Generation Z guys arriving. They are junior positions yet, but well, some of them are escalating really quick and practically devouring the Generation Y. So problems between the Generation Y and the Generation Z are happening all the time. How to deal with that? That's generational intelligence.
Yes, and it's quite interesting because we really see that generations are different. So it's not just a bias, right?
No,
it's a reality.
It's the reality. Well, I can think, apart from being a professor, I run a consultancy boutique with more than 30 people. And this is the scenario I deal with every day. I have junior consultants in the middle 20s. So I'm 53. So every time there's an issue with a consultancy customer, I try to phone them. For sure they don't get my phone call, okay, which kind of frustrates me, or would frustrate me if I wouldn't count on these skills, okay? So generational skills, generational intelligence, you take a deep breath, you calm down, you say, hey, they are about to answer. And 5 minutes later, a voicemail gets in your WhatsApp with the explanations that you asked for. But it's not instant delivery like it used to happen in my generation. So you have to deal with this. You have to deal with your anxiety. I know colleagues in my situation that would start phoning once and again till they get a phone call. But it generates tremendous anxiety on the members of the Generation Z to have to answer a phone call they don't know what it will be about. So first thing you have to do to deal with them is, you want a report from them or something urgent happened, you have to text them in advance so they can prepare an answer, because this is the way they feel comfortable and are more productive.
Okay. Isn't it also about the work-life balance? Because I think that generation also values the work-life balance a lot more than our generation. So
absolutely. You're younger than me. But in my generation, in the Generation X, we used to do anything for money.
Yes.
Okay, we inherited that from the yuppies, from the young urban professionals of the 80s, and well, you give us money, we will do everything. We will stay longer hours than expected, or we will work on Sunday schedules or whatever. You cannot think like that. out of them. For sure, them generation-wise in the middle. Okay, so depending on the approach, Generation Y can try to do something similar to what Generation X and baby boomers used to do. But for sure, the balance between personal and professional life is so important for Generation Z that some of them who were fortunate enough to escalate quick and acquire responsibility positions are dropping them off and jumping into accountability. For instance, they want to be accountants, something that in our generation we wanted to be directors of finance but not accountants. So they don't feel that money pays for the pressure, for the stress. So you have to ease things up. Having said that, they are much better prepared than we were. They speak more languages than we used to speak at their age.
They're more informed.
Absolutely. They deal with tools that are difficult for us. So you have to give them a space and you have to allow them to work at their own pace.
So it's a big challenge for leaders to manage such different...
Absolutely, because in the same consultancy team, I have people my age, and I have people, Andrea, for instance, here, she's 39. So, well, she's a Generation Y. I have people in, I don't have baby boomers, so we are all Generation Xers. But you have Generation Xers, Generation Yers, and Generation Zers. So dealing with that is
not easy.
A lot of stress.
And what's the leader's role as an intergenerational translator, as you often talk
One
about?
of the main things we have to do is create cross-generational teams. So, for instance, when I have to send a consultancy team to a customer for doing all things we do, digital marketing or strategic marketing or digital transformation, I wouldn't be sending a team composed only of seniors or a team composed only of juniors. So I try to create cross-generational teams, and I think it's one of the most positive things to do. So they will reinforce each other in certain skills. Okay, so for instance, members of Generation Z or Generation Zers, as I like to call them, it's very difficult for them to be patient with the customer because the customer is always right, specifically in sectors like consultancy, in sectors like mine. And you have to be patient with them. You have to be resilient with them. Maybe they ask for something, and since they are paying per hour, they change the complete scenario of what they had asked for, and they want a new settlement or a new vision to be presented to them. This can be extremely frustrating for members of Generation Z. So you better leave the seniors to do that. And on the contrary, maybe it's necessary to deal with some artificial intelligence tool that for the seniors it's not that easy to cope with. So once you have created a cross-generational team, the seniors will be kind of teaching the Generation Zers about resilience, about how the customer's always right, about how to survive in stress situations. They are very, very, very sensitive to stress. And on the other hand, the setters will have to teach the seniors is mainly two things: technology, learning by doing, improvising. They are really good at improvising, and finally, also giving a balance, knowing when to say no. Yeah. Because the senior consultant will never say no to the customer. And at a certain moment, they won't be telling the customer straight, but they will call in the senior and tell him, hey, enough, I'm going to the hotel. Enough for today. Sometimes that's good. That kind of balance is good.
Yeah,
so those cross-generational teams seem to work very well for me.
Very good. And how do you recommend, also what advice would you give to leaders that want to improve their generational intelligence? So what can, because it's complicated to manage such different types of workers with different expectations, motivations. So how can people improve their generational intelligence?
You learn by doing. I mean, until you have cross-generational teams put to work, you don't really know what it is like. So my recommendation would be every company has cross-department challenges and so on. In each of these challenges, when you have to create multi-departmental teams, create also at the same time cross-generational teams. So select people when you have to, there's a new issue you have to deal with, and you have to bring someone from marketing, someone from finance, someone from cost management. Okay, instead of selecting all of them of a homogeneous age, which is what's done in most of the companies, try to select them from different ages and learn on the fly. Because there's not something like a cooking recipe that I can give saying, okay, this is the perfect formula. No, only exercise your patience, take advantage that normally you'll be in the middle. Normally you'll be a senior member of the Generation Y or a member of the Generation X. And since you have perspective forward and also back to understand both generations, try to establish a collaboration between them. That would be my recommendation.
Would it be interesting, for example, to map out, generational differences and who you have in your teams?
Absolutely. That's fundamental, and that's part of the work that the HRO has to do. Okay, you need to. When we do digital transformation consultancy, we do this all the time. We go to the HRO and we ask for a map of not only the age, but also the psychometric profiles of people. Because we also have to break with the kind of established rules. It's not true that all baby boomers are super traditional and hate technology and blah blah blah. I've seen youngsters who don't really like technology that much. They use it in their personal life, but they don't feel that comfortable when doing business using technology all the time. And on the contrary, I've seen really old people who love technology because, in fact, this is all about change. Do you like change or you don't like change? And hence the psychometric profiles that I always ask the HRO to have at hand when we have to deal with this. Those who currently don't like change are recruitment mistakes. So we have tools for avoiding this. For instance, we have AI tools that allow us to recruit people, no matter their age, that will feel comfortable with change.
And also applicable to leaders, right? So leaders must like change. So
if a leader doesn't like change, he's not or she's not a leader.
Very good. Manuel, so super interesting speaking with you.
It's a pleasure.
We're very eager to, and I'm sure that everyone will now be researching a little bit more about generational intelligence, and see it not just as something that exists, but something that can be manageable.
Absolutely, and something that, everyone in the middle can do. It's very difficult. One last word of advice about this. Don't make a baby boomer or a member of the Generation Z manage this. Put someone in the middle, Generation Y, Generation X.
So that the gap is not so
the
big.
gap is not that big.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It was a pleasure to have this conversation with you. Thank you so much for joining PBS Pulse, the podcast where we share experts' insights about the trends that are shaping the future of business. And stay tuned to the next episode.